In, in this video, I want to explain the process which we use in COMOSYS to export models from COMOSYS to Tekla and reverse importing them back from Tekla into COMOSYS. And before we do that, you just ensure that you have selected or you have turned on the visibility of all the objects. So the cuts and the welds and the bolts and the plates should all be turned visible. You should make sure that your profiles are turned on, your cuts are turned on, your plates, your bolts, bolt holes, welds, etc. They're all turned on, because if you don't select them, then they won't be exported. Once you're sure that the entire model is visible, all you need to do is just select the entire building and or that part of the building which you want to be exported. And when it is selected, you basically go to your import export menu and you go to the export option over here, and in that you choose the CDFX file format. And in this file format, you press this button, quick settings for Tekla IO, because that will do all the settings over here. And then from this button, you can actually select a location for the CDFX file, and you can say that if it already exists, you can say that you want to replace it. And after that, once you've pressed this button and given the file a name, you just say export. And when you do that, COMOSYS starts dumping all the objects into this CDFX file. Once the CDFX file has been exported, you you basically open your Tekla application. And besides that, there's another application which is called Tekla IO. You need to run this application called Tekla IO, and when you run it, this little application opens up. And with this application and with Tekla running in the background with an empty model, you need to press the import button. Import basically means importing into Tekla, and export means exporting out of Tekla. So we will press the import button. And when we do that, it asks us for a location. So we go to the particular model where we saved away that file. And let's go down to this one. And in the export, I had saved it over here. This was the CDFX file which we had just created. And when you select that and you press open, and it will start importing the file, the CDFX file, into Tekla automatically. And then you have to wait. And basically, this process takes a certain amount of time, because it's not a direct import from within. It's using a text file. So one by one, the elements need to be created back into Tekla from the CDFX file. So it's a bit time consuming. So I'm not going to make you wait. I'm going to just wait till the process is over, and then we'll see how the building looks. Now, that took about, I think, around 4 to 5 minutes. And at the end of the import, you will get a little report like this, where it will tell you how many of each object type were imported. So it says 6,296 out of 6,296 bolts were imported. So all bolts were imported successfully. 3,293 frames were imported successfully. 2,503 cuts, 14,457 plates, and 27,782 welds were imported into Tekla. And you can, if there's any error, then it will also be reported in this log file. Once you're done with that, you can minimize this, and this is what the initial thing will look like, because now you obviously have to do your maybe your up-down related modifications inside Tekla if the model work area has not been fitted. And another thing you can do is you can go into the display settings. You can say, I want exact welds everywhere. Your bolts are exact. The bolts, you turn everything to exact, and you say modify. And when you do that, then you will have probably a better looking model than what we saw on the screen. And now if we were to zoom in, we can probably see the results like this. Now I've changed it to rendered, so it gives a better picture. Now you can see from over here how the entire model has basically been transferred. So let me go and show you the same area in COMOSYS as well. So that it's probably over here. Let me turn these off. So you can see that this area, which was in COMOSYS, has now been transferred into Tekla like this. All the girts, all the sag rods, all the bolts, all the cuts, everything which we had in the other model. Let me zoom in over here and let me go back to the COMOSYS model, and you can see that it's exactly the same model which has been transferred. Once again, we have the girts, the sag rods, everything is the same. The entire model has been converted into Tekla. Now, if you were to zoom in to the Tekla model, you can see that even the wells have been imported properly at their locations, exactly the same as they were in the COMOSYS model. Obviously, in this import-export process, the no macros are exported. It's basically the model from COMOSYS is exploded, and the exploded form, not the intelligent macros, because the details of the macros on both sides can vary significantly. So for that reason, what you get on the Tekla side is the exploded model, but you get the entire model, and that's basically what we want. And the reverse obviously can be done by this in exactly the same way. You select your objects in Tekla, and once your objects are selected, you can open the same Tekla IO file, and this time instead of saying import, you can export. And what it will do is it will create a CDFX file, which you can then go back to into COMOSYS and go to your import export menu, and this time instead of saying export, you say import CDFX, and that will import the CDFX file back into COMOSYS. One detail about the export process is that only the model is exported from COMOSYS to Tekla, and no drawings are exported. So even if you have drawings on the COMOSYS side, they will not be exported to the Tekla model. Only the model side, and that also the one which you select before exporting, those model objects are exported to Tekla, and that's it. Similarly, any numbering related information from the COMOSYS model is not transferred to Tekla. You will need to do the numbering again on the Tekla model if you need to. But the prefixes, the start series, and all those things are exported to the Tekla model. But the actual numbers of the parts will not be exported, and for that you will need to do the numbering in Tekla once again.